As always, we've got Steve Merrill from Wager Talk here at the Voice of College Football to break down all the big matchups across college football. LSU is headed to the SEC championship game, regardless of what happens this weekend at Kyle Field at Texas A&M. However, LSU is gunning for a college football playoff appearance if they can beat Georgia, and they've got to, of course, win this one as a 10-point favorite on the road, Steve, against Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's loss last week against South Carolina not only knocked the Volunteers out, but it definitely left the door open for LSU because it was going to be really, really hard to put LSU ahead of Tennessee, a one-loss Tennessee team, since they got blown out by Tennessee. So the season is definitely still open for LSU. You know, USC, we talked about the USC Notre Dame game on the other channel as well. And, of course, TCU keeps winning. I mean, they really kind of need the Horned Frogs probably to drop out. But the other teams that benefit, I think, obviously, from that Tennessee loss were Michigan and Ohio State, because a one-loss Michigan or Ohio State team after this weekend definitely remains in the top four as far as I'm concerned. I even probably thought they should beforehand, but now it makes it a little easier to keep them there. With that said, LSU has to keep winning, though. They should win this game, at least based on my math projection. And the point spread, being at 10 here, shows that this is a winnable game. But you just got to wonder if this isn't the bowl game for A&M. And my math projection is just 8.8. So I do think the line is a little inflated based on recent results. Not only LSU winning, but A&M struggling this season. This is a Texas A&M team that, to be honest, had playoff aspirations when the season began. They've underachieved probably more than any team in the nation this year. And often those are the type of teams that do toss the towel in the season. A team that had playoff aspirations can really be a bad beat for you down the stretch. And that was the case with A&M, as they were just 3-7 until their win against UMass last week. And once again, not an impressive showing. They won 20-3 against a terrible UMass team who was over a 2-touchdown home dog to Army this week. And A&M was a 32-point home favorite in that game. And we talk about this a lot, Mark. It's always a red flag for me, especially late in the season when a team does not even come close to scoring what the point spread was. 32-point favorite, they only scored 20 points. They have only covered once in the past 2.5 months against the spread. But if there is a game in which maybe they step it up because they're just 4-7, this is their bowl game and a chance to knock LSU out of the national title picture. They don't throw the ball well. That's been a huge problem this year, offensively challenged to say the least. So if they get behind, they're going to have trouble catching up. So the key here is to keep the game close. I do think the Texas A&M plus 10 is somewhat correlated to the under in this game as well. Texas A&M plus 10, under 47.5 would make sense because I just don't see them winning a high-scoring game. But LSU likes to play low-scoring, running ball, smash-mouth football, and that's why they got in trouble early against Tennessee, because they fumbled that opening kickoff. Volunteers were up 7-0, boom, just got out of hand. So I think this will be a fairly low-scoring game that gives A&M at plus 10 or more a chance to hang within the number.
You can correlate the talent rankings, 247 Sports, based on the recruiting directly to the top 10 or 15 teams in the nation. But the one aberration is, of course, this Texas A&M team that is the fourth most talented team in the country, according to the recruiting rankings. And they have just disappointed beyond belief. Yeah, Steve, I was just shocked, obviously, watching a lot of other more meaningful games and seeing 13-3 in the fourth quarter over UMass. Inexplicable. But LSU, Texas A&M, we'll see if the Aggies and all that talent shows up for one last shot in the 2022 season. Catch Steve's work at wagertalk.com. It's wagertalk.com for not just college football, but the NFL and NBA. You get all of Steve's takes as well as his money management system right there. Join us on Patreon. You get Steve's Under the Radar selection of the week. It's exclusive on Patreon for our Voice of College Football community. Go to patreon.com, search Mark Rogers TV, and get it right there. Steve is 11-1 against the spread on his Under the Radar selection. Steve, always enjoy the conversation.
Thanks, Mark.